Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man, at your macho muscle-bound service. Aye, I'm wearing the blue Mackay, which is perfect for combating a Saturday morning hangover from the previous night's Freedom Friday shenanigans, yes. And obviously going fully auto, that always helps as well. Anyway folks, wearing a classic t-shirt here. Who remembers this one? Yes, it was a massive all-star during the 70s and the 80s. Even so that in Jim Cameron's Aliens, one of the Colonial Marines wears it as well. When they have pulse rifles, for God's sake, they don't carry Uzis. What the fuck, Is he a retro Marine? Anyway, folks, keeping with the military theme, as you can hear. Now, I have been on record as absolutely lambasting composer Hans Zimmer. Even though I love probably half of what I've heard of his stuff I absolutely adore, and the other half, or another quarter, I tolerate, and there's a quarter I can't stand. What I don't like about him is what he's done to the movie composing business. The way it's all been farmed out, electronicalized, and this droning industrial sound, which I like sometimes, but he does it too much. Does it way too much. He absolutely destroys themes, motifs, and any sort of memorabilia, any kind of bits from scores you remember. But hooks that get into your mind and you start humming. It's hard to do with a lot of modern Hans Zimmer scores. But when he's good, when he's on fire, he is totally on fire. And I love Gladiator, and I love what followed next, which was 2001, I think. Ridley Scott tackled Black Hawk Down, and he brought on board Hans Zimmer again. And of course, the story of Black Hawk Down is literally one hell of a story. 1993, Mogadishu, Somalia. The Americans are in there. You've got Delta Force, you've got Navy SEALs, you've got Ranger battalions there, and lots of Secret Service and CIA operatives. And the thing is, on this particular day, they go in to the hotbed that is Mogadishu. It's the terrorist arms dealership of the world. Everyone, including his dog, has got a fully automatic weapon. Women and children are fully versed in the art of torture and killing. Only a week before the events of Black Hawk Down, a Pakistani peacekeeping force was ambushed by a mob. 19 men were skinned alive. Their commanding officer was actually, I think he was only a sergeant, so he's an NCO, and they beheaded him and played football with his head. That was a week before the events of Black Hawk Down, when the Yanks went in to extract a notorious warlord from the area. They knew he was going to be in a hotel with a big powwow meeting. So what seemed like a pretty simple snatch and grab mission then famously turned into one of the world's worst clusterfucks ever. Now, I've served with American forces, I've trained with American forces, and I think they're fantastic. What they lack is a distinct leadership, a chain of command. Too many cooks are in the kitchen. Too many chiefs have a say. So, what would be a simple extraction? You use Rangers to go in, using Black Hawk helicopters. You have Rangers on the street as well. You have an armed convoy. You have Delta Force and SEALs standing by waiting. You've got too many people involved in it. The head shed can't keep up with all this. So when inevitably something goes wrong and a young Ranger abseiling down a helicopter, lets go of the rope, lands on the deck and does a lot of damage. In the film he's played by, oh god, I've forgotten his name, pretty boy from Pirates of the Caribbean. No, not Johnny Depp, the other guy. The guy was like Legolas with the arrows in Lord of the Rings. Yeah, you know who I mean. A very small part for him there, and but that causes problems obviously. So now you've got to get people in there to try and medevac this guy out. So the ground convoy, which was going to be carrying, all the hostages when they do the kidnapping, the snatch and grab of all these warlords, well, one particular warlord and his aides, which would disrupt all the, or so they think, it would disrupt all the terrorism and the plots and the arms dealership and, the complete anarchy on the streets of Mogadishu. Well, let's be honest, foreign policy, they don't really give a shit about the strife on the streets. They just want to catch these bastards, and the debris and wreckage that's going to cause to the civil unrest, they don't care, Anyway, it's what it is. All of a sudden, like, because, Somalis, or the skinnies as they're known, they've learned to despise those bloody helicopters going overhead all the time, buzzing them out, always watching them, always monitoring, doing surveillance on them. All their deals are getting disrupted because of these guys in the sky. So they want to take, these night stalkers as they're called, they want to take these guys out. RPGs, they've got them. Boom! One Black Hawk goes down. So whilst you're waiting for, the medevac team to get there, the ground convoy to escort these bastards out, as well as your now injured man, it gives time for the Somalis to amass their ranks, to start forming roadblocks. Something which you may have heard, but you say didn't see, just fell right the way down to the shelf up there. I swear to God, this house is haunted. Well, I know it's haunted. It is haunted. That's beyond, dispute. But hey, stop messing with my stuff, you spooky bastard. Anyway, so what was already a bad situation goes from, pretty piss poor to absolutely catastrophic in a matter of minutes. When that Black Hawk goes down, they've now got to form a rescue party to go and get those men out. As Rangers always say, and it isn't just Rangers, you never leave a man behind. Any military unit is exactly the same. You never leave someone behind if you can help it. And if you do, you're going to fucking go back and get them. And anyway, so now the roadblocks, burning tyres, are causing absolute bedlam on the streets. The ground convoy can't get out. Rescue teams coming in to try and help them. So you're getting more people getting brought in. They still can't help them. They can't arrive anywhere. They can't form up. And they're under increasingly heavy fire from literally every direction. In the film, you've got Ewan McGregor, you've got the great Tom Sizemore. Oh, I love Tom Sizemore. I know he's had his issues, I know. But I want to see him back in movies. And who else have we got in there? Oh God, Sam Shepard. And Eric Bana, who plays this fantastic Navy SEAL. He wants to go in on his own, and it's just war. Don't worry about it, it's just war. This is what happens, it's just war. And he's superb. Ridley Scott handles the action brilliantly. I'm not really discussing the film itself, although obviously I'm going to touch upon moments in it, because obviously when the second Black Hawk goes down, Michael Durant, who was the pilot and also the only survivor of that crash, who was captured and tortured and then released, we'll come on to that. But when the second Black Hawk goes down, that's it, all bets are off. You've got men pinned down all over the city. You've got an entire city erupting and coming down on their heads. It is possibly one of the worst scenarios to find yourself in. It's a last stand scenario with people who are going to skin you alive if they get the chance to. That's what they do. They're called skinnies for lots of different reasons, and that's one of them. But Hans Zimmer was brought on board for this, and he brought a lot of ethnic, sort of agitated, angst-ridden, sort of pulsating electronics, which worked to, give you the sort of the dust and the volatility and the heat and just the being on edge at all times. But his best track of all is Tribal War, for which he drafted in. He's known for doing this. He will draft in major musicians of a particular field from all over the world. But what he tends to do, and he'll get them all in and he'll record them, but then he'll sample it all and he'll dense layers upon layers of electronics on top of it. So he's masked. This is what I don't like about him. He masks the original artistry of that instrumentalist. So don't get it. But what he did with this one, he brought in all these ethnic and exotic percussionists with all their different types of, things to bash. Not just bongos and drums. Oh no, there was woodblock and all sorts of metal and anvils. Everything was there. And he created this track, this primal track of just adrenaline and aggression. And you hear it in the film a good couple of times. First of all, you hear it as the Rangers are now going through the streets trying to get to stricken people. Black Hawk's down there, Black Hawk's down there, we've got to try and get through it. And they're getting shot at all the time. RPGs are whizzing in. So this pounding, boom, 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 comes in a good couple of times. And then at the end of it, you've got Josh Hartnett, who is one of the younger Rangers there, but he ends up taking command. These guys are pinned down in a house. The film's pretty accurate to what really happened. It does follow a lot of the actual individual instances over I think the 19 hours that they were involved in this, confrontation. And they're pinned down in a house. They're trying to call in an airstrike because they are utterly surrounded, taking fire from all sides. They can't hold out much longer. They've got injured men with them as well. So Josh Hartnett in the film gets one of those beacons and he runs out and he's got to try and get it on the roof, which has got all the a huge contingent of Somalis blasting down him to bring the attack gunships in to take them out. And so you hear a bit of this, and then it evolved into the most heroic version. Now, what I've got here is the full version of this track, which runs almost double the length of the one you get on the album, which is here. Josh Hartnett sitting there. Lots of helicopters. Americans and their helicopters, But this track is alarmingly good, very effective. And if you watch the making of the movie, he gets them all in this room, this recording, jamming session, and whatever they've got, they're fucking hitting the shite out of it. Electric guitar comes in as well. But it's just an outstanding track. I will play the whole thing and let you listen to it, but while I'm still waffling on endlessly about an event which I find it very galvanising. I've said many times before, it's how people face death, how you, Custer's Last Stand, the British Redcoats at Isandlwana and Rorke's Drift, how you face imminent death, knowing it's going to happen. Sending yourself into that environment seems absolutely insane. If you're already on the ground and you're surrounded, you will have to fight back. You're forced into it. Some people run, some people just dig a hole for themselves and hope for the best. But it usually ends in fucking annihilation. And with people like the enemies they're facing in the events I just described, it isn't a nice clean death either. So, when that second Black Hawk goes down, there's a little, whaley bird above, and there's two Delta Force snipers in there, Gary Gordon and Randy Shughart. Highly trained, busy mates as well. And they're watching, and they're seeing Michael Durant and a few people. Michael Durant was the pilot. His back is broken from the landing. They've landed in a shanty sort of building, and it's overturned. And so, but the mob are beginning to amass, and they're going to move in on this, hundreds and hundreds strong. And they've got knives and all sorts. Sadly, the guys in the back of all the rest of the crew, which was about, another 8 or 9 people, I can't quite remember now, who were in there. Some of them are still alive and were seen to be, writhing in agony with broken bones. The mob descended on them and, they hacked them to bits, basically. That's what they did. Michael Durant was captured. He was knocked out with a severed arm of one of his comrades, and his back was broken. But he was released. Anyway, he was released and he got back. He wrote his memoirs as well about this whole thing. But what I want to mention here, because there's no way you can talk about the events of Black Hawk Down, Mogadishu 1993, without talking about Randy Shughart and Gary Gordon, the two Delta Force guys. Repeatedly, they're watching from above as they see Michael Durant and people wriggling around, their own men. And they're asking back to the head shed, look, we want to go in there, we can do, and they say negative. Because there's fuck all you can do. 2 men against hundreds, what are you going to do? Okay, they're armed to the teeth, they're highly trained, they're both exceptional snipers as well. Very cool under fire. And I said, no, do what you can from the air. And I go, there's nothing we can do from the air. Pot shots, it's not going to stop anything. We're not leaving our boys behind. So they demand to go in there. Now, so the helicopter sets them down and they run in. Now, there's no way on earth that these 2 guys did not know that they weren't going to come out alive. Probably thinking that none of them, they couldn't even save Michael Durant. That's probably what they were thinking. But we are not going to just stand by and do nothing. That hits me, and it should hit you right in the heart, in the core of your own spirit, that people can do that. I'd like to think I'd be the same. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I've not been in that scenario, but I've been in situations, and I don't know if I would react the way they did. But sometimes this story hits me and I cannot get it out of my head for a while. So this is why this is happening right now. But because I woke up thinking, oh my god, Delta Force snipers surrounding. And it's become a very famous last ditch action. They hit the ground, they find Michael Durant, he's alive. They extract him from the helicopter even though he's in great pain, and they set him up in like a back garden of this building which the helicopter's crashed into. And they give him, you know, a weapon, an MP5, and a few, you know, magazines to keep him going. They said, look, listen, we're going to be out the front. We're going to defend the helicopter. We're going to defend the Black Hawk. Any of these bastards come around behind us, you shoot them, you know? And he's like, okay. But he's like, fucking hell, is this it? And we're going to try and hold out till the ground force rescue team gets to us. It never will get to them. Those two guys must have known, this is what I keep coming back to, that they were facing the worst enemy that they were ever going to face, with no rules. No, they weren't going to be captured and just, you know, held prisoner, although Michael Durant was. So they get inside the wreckage of the helicopter. They try to make anyone who's still injured and alive, you know, comfortable, and then the mob descends on him. So the two of them, one of them played by Calder Wostow, you know, Elijah Calder Wostow, who was Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones. He's one of them, and they're selecting the shot, you know. And the two of them, they both get injured, they both get shot, but they fight on. In the end, the mob close in, and well, it's obvious what happens. Their remains were given back, but I think Randy Shughart's body was hacked to bits and was eventually brought back in a suitcase and dropped outside the embassy. That's how he made his way back home. Gary Gordon was in just as bad a state. The Somalis, after the end of the battle, dragged the body through the streets, nude, ripped up, mangled, gloating. Look, it's what third world enemies do. You know, not even third world. You know, the IRA did a lot of fucking horrible stuff as well. Let's not get started on that though. We'll be here all day. But I do think that is an alarmingly good sequence in an alarmingly effective and authentic movie. Ridley Scott said, you know, I don't want to show... He could have gone all out and shown what really happened, you know, the aftermath. He basically shows them getting shot to bits, and then just collapsing, and then you just see the mob close in. You don't really see much. There's an aerial shot of bodies being hoisted out of the wreckage of the helicopter, but you don't see all the really nasty things that happened. And in the film, Michael Durant is knocked unconscious by the butt of a rifle. In reality, it was a severed arm which knocked him out. I know, yeah, it's grisly stuff, isn't it? But once again, you know, those two guys, you know, you are in Valhalla, you know, the Hall of Heroes. No one has matched your bravery. You can't surpass the bravery, maybe you can match it, I should say. You can't surpass that level of courage under fire, knowing you're not going to see your families again. You're going to go out in a very bad way. You're going to go out fighting, and that is just unbelievably, you know, emotional to me. Provides a wallop. So let's get on to this fucking track that I've been banging on about. Let's start it again. Come on now, Kilty. So this is Tribal War. Now, it starts off with the sound of a train on tracks, rattling through like an underground. It's agitating. You get all this fluttering sort of electronics, which, you know, tell you, this is modern warfare. This isn't Gladiator now, even though there's a lot of electronics in that. You can hear this. It's going to come in now. It's just primal. It's meant to set your nerves on edge. It's meant to get your blood pounding. You know. Not soft rock shit, that, you know. That's someone with strings attached to an M203. Cymbals. They sound like scratchy. You can imagine all these percussionists together from all over the world, amassed. Right, and Zimmer's just gone, right guys, just fucking go for it. Just do whatever you do and don't stop. So what's that, some kind of like bamboo wood block? It does sound militaristic though. The snare drum's in there too, you know? Now this is the next phase of it. Josh Hartnett making his run to put that beacon on top of the roof and bring in the air cab. It's a great sort of slow motion run that he does. Great panning shot that goes with him. See, now, if I was in that whirly bird and I was one of those Delta Force guys, this music playing, I'd go, fuck it, yeah, I'm going down there, fuck it. But Kilt-Man, you haven't even got a gun. I don't care. I'm gonna spit whiskey napalm at him. Isn't it great though? It's so like, whoa, adrenalised. The probably coming through a bit too quiet. Once again, I've picked the wrong studio, haven't I? Should have gone into the room there with all the big fuck off speakers. And there was a weird, lull in the fighting as well, because they all pray to, Mecca or whatever the hell, no offence. And but they have this drug called Khat, Khat, which they chew and they munch on it. And afterwards, so there's a lull in the fighting in the afternoon, but afterwards, after they take all this stuff, they go into kind of like a hypnotic but homicidal trance, which just egged them on all the more. They become non-stop at the Americans wherever they were, and the Americans took loads of hits. Obviously a few died, but one guy was blown in half by an RPG, and but they were driving through. They were spattered with blood. They were getting shot to bits in the bullet magnets that are like APCs and other vehicles, and they're getting shot to bits. And every road they go down is blocked by burning tyres, so you're choking on fumes. You can't see a thing. They're blinded by their own blood dripping down their faces. Fucking nightmare scenario. But so the Somalis would even use women and children. They'd make them walk forward, and they'd be hiding underneath them to take pot shots at the Americans. And in the end, the Americans, well, if you read the book, or the books that are on it, you watch the documentaries on it, if you're in that situation, look, fuck it. So in the end, they just let rip on anything that moved that was coming at them, anything, because there could be an armed sniper behind them, sneaking up with grenades or RPGs or whatever, So just destroy everything. So it was a fucking bloodbath, Not long afterwards, the Americans did pull out of Mogadishu in Somalia. What could you do? But you have to ask yourself, you know, Americans have a track record, American Armed Forces have a track record of sending in too many people with too many different commanders who don't match up their plans, their ideas. Look at the Delta Force's first ever mission was to rescue the American hostages in Tehran. And that was a complete and utter disaster. All the helicopters crashed. The Ayatollah Khomeini was filmed, you know, gloating over the burning bodies of the American crewmen and Delta Force operatives. It was a complete disaster for Colonel Charles Beckwith, who created Delta Force along the lines of the British SAS. Because he'd served with the British SAS, well, trained alongside them, and learnt their methods, took it back to America to create their own version. We had the Green Berets, we had the Navy SEALs, but Delta Force was another thing entirely. And the individuals who work for Delta Force, they're outstanding. Same as the SEALs, same as, you know, the Rangers, Green Berets, Marines. All outstanding individuals. It's just the chain of command that will let you down. A time-honoured thing, every serviceman knows that. But anyway, we've had a few fuck-ups in this country as well, you know, with our special forces. Oh yes we have. Oh yes we have. But that's another story. In the meantime, just feel this. That's bongos actually. It does make you want to get up and run through the streets. I don't recommend you do it armed to the teeth though, unless you actually are in a combat situation. Wouldn't go down too well on, you know, it's a normal shopping day, you know. Although I don't know, there's been a fair few massacres, hasn't there? Where people that have just done this. What goes on with the world? What goes on? But Hans Zimmer did a great score for Black Hawk Down. Ridley Scott made a fantastically powerful and exciting movie. And he did toe the line pretty well by not showing the extremities of what really took place. But it's still a frightening piece of cinema, but an exhilarating one at the same time. So folks, lock and load. And I'm off to chew some cat. Chew some cat. Eat some pussy. No. No, no. But maybe yes. Anyway, in the meantime, the in-between time, you guys stay. Why do I bother trying to do this sort of thing at the end when I've talked myself into an absolute frenzy and my tongue is now knackered, you know, and my lips are stuck to my teeth? Well, there's a sure remedy for that. Take two. In the meantime and in between time, you guys stay safe, stay happy. Make love, not war. But if you have to make war, do it properly. Do it properly. You know, go down fighting. And listen to Hans Zimmer percussion, you know. And what better way to go? And keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. And I'm going to see you all later. It's just war.